Hello family, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angela. Here on this channel, I create beauty, fashion, and lifestyle content, in particular for the woman over 40. This is not a beauty or fashion. I guess it's a lifestyle type video. Anyway, a couple of days ago, I was scrolling on Cat and I've been seeing Cat Williams before all of the Cat Williams stuff has been going on. But I was scrolling on Cat Williams' internet and I saw on Instagram, and I saw this young man's page and it just really caught my eye. The name of his page is novafilm.co. And what caught my eye is he was interviewing his mother. And the post up said, 7 questions to ask your mom while you still can. And I thought to myself, I wonder what Shadia would ask me. I have no clue. And I wonder what the questions are. So I started scrolling down and I saw the first question. Then I stopped because I said, I bet that'd be a great interview and something that would be on the internet forever. Something my daughter could go back and look at, and my grandchildren or my great grandchildren go back and look at and just see that interview. So I'm interested to see what the questions are. I did see the first question. But I didn't look at the next questions because I wanted to be authentic. I didn't want to think about what the questions were, think about my answer to the questions ahead of time. I really wanted to be in the moment, and I want to see her face as I answer the questions, and I want to see her face while she asked the questions. I just feel like this would be a great bonding. Not that we could bond any closer, Lord knows, when I say we like this. I just thought it would be a great opportunity to sit and have her ask me these questions and just to see what the questions are and be engaged with my baby. So if you don't know, the interviewer is my daughter. She's my baby. She's the only daughter I gave birth to. I do have 2 other children that I was blessed with through my husband. And so we have 2 princesses and 1 prince. We have Shadia, who's the oldest. Then we have Owen, my son, and we have Evie, who is the baby. So I'm really excited. So if you'd like to hear the 7 questions that Shadia is going to ask me, and maybe you can ask your mother. And I encourage you to record it. I encourage you to record it if you do. I am probably going to ask my mother these questions. I will record it. I don't know if I will put it on social media though. I'll have it for myself. So the next time I go home, I'll ask her the questions. But if you'd like to see my answer to the questions and see what the questions are, then stay tuned. Now, let's get started. Okay, so for those of you who are new here, who don't know, and to those of you who've been here and who are well acquainted with, this is my daughter Shadia, graduate of Johns Hopkins, student in her doctorate program. I did say that right, because if I didn't, Ronnie gonna get me. Okay, I thought so. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm a little nervous. You nervous?
No.
Well, you got a pretty smile. Smile just like your daddy. I know everybody say you look like me, but you look like your daddy to me.
Okay, you ready?
Yo, nervous. I'm nervous. I feel like I should have got a glass of wine. All right, look. Okay.
Okay. So the first question is, what was it like for you growing up?
Ooh. That's a lot. It's
a loaded question.
Huh?
It's a loaded question.
It is. I would answer, there's 2 ways I would answer the question. I would answer the question one way if my mother were not still living. I guess I should talk to you and talk to the camera at the same time. If my mother were not still living, I would answer the question differently, but because she is, and I want to respect her and her feelings, I'll answer it. I'll still be truthful, but I'll tell probably a different way of looking at me growing up. I grew up with a single mother, me and my sister and brother. There were 4 of us, but the 3 of us were raised together. I was the oldest girl, of course, and so I was taught to protect your sister and brother. Somebody hit your brother, somebody hit your sister, you hit them. I've never been hungry. My mother worked 2 jobs most of my life and took took care of us the best way she knew how. And so we were always clean. We were always clothed. She couldn't afford the best of the best, or even the medium of the best. But she would get our clothes. They were good clothes. They were good wearing clothes. She would buy clothes from the thrift store or Goodwill, or people would give us clothes. And then when she had money, she would purchase our clothes. And she would wash them, and she always she earned our clothes until we were old enough to earn our own clothes. We had home cooked meals. I'm talking about biscuits and everything was home cooked all the way until we were probably in 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. It was 3 of us. So until we were in high school and we could cook for ourselves. I always felt protected. Again, I was never hungry. Always clean, tidy, had fun. I'm that generation that you millennials talk about, the latchkey kids. I was the oldest, so I was responsible for my sister and brother, while my mother worked all the time. So she taught them to listen to me. So I was like their second mother. So they had to listen to me there, and they always did. There was never any talk back. There was never any not doing what I said to do, because not only were they gonna get it from me, they were gonna get it from my mama. So it was the rules were set. And I don't even remember learning how to cook. I don't remember learning how to clean. As far as I remember, I've always known how to cook. I've always known how to clean, and I've always helped to take care of somebody. So I probably started all of that at 8 years old. I know I was one of my funniest memories is when I was young. I don't know how old I was. I probably was around 10 or 11. If I was 11, then my brother was 10, then my sister was 8. And my mother had to work, so we had to stay home. And she said, don't open the door for nobody. She didn't have to say it twice. That means don't open the door for nobody. And I don't care who it was, unless it was going to be Jesus, you're going to have to open the door himself. I wasn't going to open the door for him. And somebody must have seen her leaving us at home by herself and called the police. I ain't tell you about that. Yeah, and the police came knocking. We lived in a 2-bedroom house, a shotgun house. You know what a shotgun house is?
No.
Well, you can open the front door and see the back door from the front door. You can shoot a shotgun through the house, from the front door to the back door. 2-bedroom house, living room, kitchen, bathroom, little bitty utility room. Anyway, the police knocked on the door. My mama had said don't open the door, so I wasn't gonna open that door. I was more scared of my mom than I was the police. And he knocked on the door, and he knocked, and so I went and looked, told Larry and Shadia to sit down. And I went and looked out the window, and the police waved at me. I waved back at him, and he said, open the door. I said, My mama said, don't open the door. He said, but I'm a police, so okay. You gonna open the door? My mama said, don't open the door. He said, I got a badge. He showed me his badge. You see the badge? You gonna open the door? My mama said, don't open the door. The man stood outside on that porch probably for 10 good minutes trying to get me to open the door, and I wouldn't open the door. So I guess he figured if I wasn't gonna open the door for him, I wasn't gonna open the door for anybody. I grew up where my mother was a strict disciplinarian. She did not skip a beating. If you did it and you got caught, you're just gonna get your behind beat. That was just the end of it. But she was very protective of us as well. You have a question?
No, but I know in the beginning you said there were 4 of y'all, for those of you who are wondering, but she's talking about 3 of them.
Correct. So my mother had my first brother, and then she met my father, and she married my father, and she's from South Carolina, and back in those days, because my mother's I think she's 75. So you did whatever your parents told you to do, you did it. Like my generation. So when she got married to my father, her parents said, that's not his baby, so you leave him here with us, we'll raise him, and you go on with your husband. And that's what she did, because that's what her parents told her to do. And so he didn't come and live with us until he was big. He might have been like 14. My grandmother died. That's when he came to live with us. My grandmother died. So anyway, so I just grew up. It was just me, Larry, and Shadia. We grew up running around in the neighborhood playing. I remember when people started, well, from my memory of people literally it being broadcast on television that people started kidnapping children. I didn't grow up in that era. I was bigger then. So in the summertime, you had to go outside and play. You couldn't come in that, but don't be running in and out my door. And nobody wanted to stay in the house because we didn't have the internet. We had one television. We had one phone in the house. That was it. So who wants to sit in the house? Because my mama gonna watch the cowboy pictures, what she called them, but they were the westerns. She watched all of the westerns, and she watched the Andy Griffin show, which I've watched every single Andy Griffin show. So I grew up playing in the neighborhood with my friends and going to the corner store or walking to the food line up the street. It was fun. I had fond memories. Elementary school was up the street, so didn't ride the school bus until middle school and high school. High school when I was, how old was I? I got a car. 17 when I got a car. Joined the military when I was 17 and a half. Basic train. Went to reserve meetings from December to that summer. Went to basic training that summer. Came back, finished high school, graduated, and was supposed to go to AIT, which is school, but I was pregnant with you. And I wasn't married. And then if you're pregnant in the military, they want you to sign your baby over if you're not married, and I refuse to do that. So that's why I'm not in the military. But that's pretty much, that's my childhood. I had an amazing grandmother. My mother's mother died when I was little. I remember when she died, but I was little. My grandfather died when you were born. So I remember him. I was very, very fond of him. Those are my mother's parents. I was very close. Well, I wouldn't say very close. I was close to my father's mother and father because we would spend summers with them. Once my parents divorced and my mother moved to North Carolina, and I was, 4 or 5. So until I was probably, I don't know how I was, maybe 10, when I stopped going to South Carolina to spend the summer with my grandmother. So from the time that I remember we were young, we would spend the summers with my father's mother, all three of us, me, my sister, and my brother, until I didn't want to go anymore. When I couldn't go anymore, I didn't want to go anymore because my grandmama had a garden and she made us eat. I gotta sneeze. So you had to eat food out of the garden. You ate what your grandmother cooked. And I still, to this day, I don't like stewed okra. I don't like stewed tomatoes. I don't like squash. I don't like beets. And she had all that growing, and you gonna eat it. And I didn't really eat it. I would put it on a plate and play around with it. But I had to sit at the table, and my brother would eat it. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing this again. When I leave, I ain't coming back. And I didn't. So when mama came and picked us up, I told my mama I don't want to go back. But that's the only reason, because I didn't like those. I didn't like. And then that imprinted in my soul, kids should not be forced to eat food they don't want to eat. Remember me telling your teachers she don't have to eat anything she don't want to, and then my grandkids, no. But that was the only reason I stopped. My grandmother was an amazing woman. She's the grandmother that I try to be every day with my grandkids. I think she'd be very proud of me as a grandmother. I think I'm a good grandma. What you think?
Amazing.
Yeah, my grandmother was amazing. So I came from a very large family. My mother's one of 16. My father's one of, is it 8? I think it's 8 of them.
7 or 8, I think.
Chris, Malcolm, Jerry, Larry, Ada Ruth, Thomasina, Rhoda. 7. Yeah, that's it.
You ready for the second question?
Good Lord, that was a lot. Yeah.
What do you remember from your first few days of motherhood? I feel like we talked about this stuff.
It was terrible. My first few days of motherhood. Okay, we did just talk about this. Mm-hmm. So my entire pregnancy was horrible. The whole thing, it was horrible. From the time I found out I was pregnant, I was sick until I gave birth. So I was sick as a dog the whole time. And I went in labor. I got to the hospital. From the time I got to the hospital until the time I delivered, the whole experience was horrible. So what I remember from my first few days of motherhood are that you were early. So I turned 7 months on Friday, and I delivered on Sunday. So, you were 3 pounds, 8 ounces. And I had you at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I went to the hospital on Saturday But because I was so early, they kept trying to stop you from coming. And they tried and tried and tried and tried, and then labor kept coming. It wouldn't stop. It would pause, but it never stopped. So finally he was like, we'll just go ahead, and your heartbeat was fine. We'll go ahead and try to deliver. And so they stopped giving me the medicine, and the labor just kicked me. And I couldn't take it. They wouldn't give me anything for pain because you were early. So I couldn't have any episiotomy. I couldn't even have a Tylenol. And because they didn't want to put in undue stress on you because you were already early, I had to get an episiotomy where they cut me.
So you couldn't have an epidural?
I could have nothing, no pain medicine, nothing.
Okay.
So it was a natural birth, and everybody likes to say, well, she was only 3.5 pounds, and my response is always, it's probably inappropriate for YouTube. Let's just say that nothing has ever gone up or come out of it that was 3.5 pounds other than you, is what I like to say, but not quite that clean. But it hurt. I was in labor for a long time. And so I remember I had the episiotomy, and so that hurt really bad. So I walked bent over probably for like 2 weeks. I could barely walk. I was bent over because he stitched me up real tight, and it just felt like every move felt like it was pulling, and it hurt real bad. So I was walking bent over, and then you had to stay in the hospital until December the 6th. So you were born November the 12th, and you stayed in the hospital until December the 6th. But luckily, when you were born, you were breathing on your own. You had no issues. You were just 3 pounds, 8 ounces. So the NICU team snatched you after they laid you on my chest and took you to NICU. And so I spent my first few days back then you stayed in the hospital. Now you only stay in the hospital, is it 2 days? Mm-hmm. I stayed in the hospital a week. It was me, and you couldn't come to my room because you were in NICU. So I was just me in my hospital room, and then I trying to heal, and me going back and forth to NICU throughout the day to go see you. So it wasn't a pleasant experience.
So side note, not one of the questions. So what were your first few days of motherhood like with me at home?
I was scared. I didn't know because, as you already know, me and my mama weren't getting along when I got pregnant because she was upset because I was pregnant. And she's from a different generation of parents where they didn't coddle their children. There was no hugging and loving. There was no gentle parenting. There was none of that. It was so we weren't close. And so I didn't have anyone to talk to or lean to or help me like you did with Gabe. But I did have, so I left home when I was pregnant, you know that, and I lived with my mother's friend. Her name was Molly. Molly was so sweet. So Molly helped me with you. She helped me to show me how to take care of a baby. And your daddy. So your daddy was the one of 7, and he had, how many cousins? Keisha and Twan. Mm-hmm. And Adrian. So he had 3, he had 2 nephews, or a niece and 2 nephews before you. Well, he was used to babies. Your daddy had to teach, did you know your daddy had to teach me how to put a diaper on? I didn't know how to put a diaper on. So your daddy had to teach me how to put your diaper on. Once you got home, it was good because I had Molly, and Molly had a daughter named Shonda. Shonda didn't have any babies yet. And your daddy. And so I had a lot of help from them. And your daddy was very hands-on because I was tired. And I would roll over and like I ain't hear you crying. And one time I dropped you on the floor. I was feeding you and I fell asleep. That's why 19-year-olds shouldn't have babies. And your daddy would get up and feed you. Your daddy would bathe you. Your daddy would put your diaper on. He took as much care of you as I did. So that part, and then you were so tiny. You were a perfect baby though. You didn't cry. You rarely cried. Oh, you could barely hear you when you did. You were so little. They let you come home once you got up to 5 pounds. That was the only reason you had to stay in the hospital, to gain weight.
Next question.
Oh God.
It's not a bad question. What's been your favorite memory of us? I got something.
Don't pull my eyelash off.
Yes.
My favorite memory of her. Boy, that's a good question. Just me and you? I don't know. Oh Lord, I don't know. I can tell you that I have I don't have a specific. It's been like all these memories are running through my head right now of how much I enjoyed you, especially once I finished nursing school. But you were such a good little girl. As you got older, like I enjoyed you so much when you were in the band at Dudley and cheerleading and me at the screaming and hollering, and but when you were little, you would do stuff and I'd be screaming and hollering, and there's so many. Do you have one?
A specific favorite memory? No. But my favorite moments are like when we're not doing anything. So we're just, like if I just come over like now and just lay in the bed and we're not doing anything.
Yeah, she still come, she'll come over and lay right, crawl up in the bed with me, sure will. There's so many. It has something to do with you, but not really. But you know what I'm thinking about?
When I gave birth to Gabe, I already knew that. That's why when you said just you, I said, Gabe stole my shine.
Oh, that is the moment that pops in my head. Like, that was the moment that popped in my head though. It wasn't just, it was you, but it wasn't just you. But it was just different because I had seen my sister give birth to my nieces. So I was there for all three of her children. I was in the room with the first two, and the only reason I wasn't in the room with the last one is because her best friend, Cookie, was like, you already been, I don't ever get to see. I was like, go ahead, Cookie. So I let Cookie go in with honesty. And Nautica was special because I was in nursing school and my sister had her. But when you had Gabe, it was different. I loved my nieces when they were born. I loved Nautica, I loved Zay. Zay was special because she wasn't breathing when she was born. And they were just rubbing her. And she started breathing shortly after. And like, my heart stopped. Well, she wasn't breathing. I don't think I was breathing in my heart. And my sister didn't know. So I'm trying to remain calm as I'm looking at them. They got their backs turned to her and they got holding the baby and they're rubbing the baby, and I'm looking at her, she was blue. And my sister, she's so tired, she didn't know. So that's why Zay was so special for me. But it's different. Anybody that has their own children, they got to see their children born. It's different to see your children born, but it's completely different to see your grandchildren born. I did because I was 19 when I had you. I was young. I hadn't lived life much. Couldn't appreciate life. But by the time you had Gabe, I was 40. Had already been a nurse and truly understood life and death and could appreciate life. And it was just, I swear he stole it was just a piece of my soul. He just gripped my soul and just held it in his, and then I felt so appreciative to you. I felt so grateful to you for such an amazing gift. Like he felt instantly like mine, like he felt like my baby. But I knew it was a gift from God, but it was because of you. Like I was so thankful for this gift of this baby. I instantly fell in love with him. And it was different with you because I was so sick when I was pregnant with you. And I loved you, but with Gabe, it was overwhelming.
I think, because you tell me all the time that I taught you how to love.
You taught me what love felt like. I knew what love felt like. I loved my sister and brother, but it always felt distant, a little distant. I cared about them and I didn't want anybody to mess with them. They felt like mine. But that agape love that you feel from God, that overwhelming love, I didn't feel that from anyone until you. And not you right away. You when you were probably about a year and a half to 2. Like when you, and even though babies know their parents, when you call my name and you wanted to be with me all the time. It was me. You always been a mommy's girl. You loved your daddy and you loved your auntie, but you've always been a mommy's girl. I knew how much you loved me. Like I knew that I need to do things in life to make sure you're safe, make sure you're okay, make sure you're fed. And yeah, you taught me what love. I didn't feel. I knew here that my grandmother loved me, and there weren't a lot of people that I felt that loved me, but I knew that you loved me. That was just the second question?
That was the third question.
Okay. Oh, I gotta move faster. Okay. Try not to be so long-winded.
So the next question, I'll extend it. It says, what do you want or wish most for your kids? And I'll extend it to say kids and grandkids.
Okay, because they do feel like mine. They do feel like mine. I think because you're grown and you're married, and everything that I wanted for you. First of all, I wanted to make certain that I lived long enough to see you grown so that you could take care of yourself. And that was my prayer the whole time you were growing up. Lord, please let me live to see her grown so she can take care of herself, because I didn't feel like anybody was going to raise you like I was going to raise you. But so I can speak, you've done everything that I expected and everything that I wanted you to do. I want you to grow up to be a beautiful human being. I feel like that's what makes me more proud than anything else. Of all your accomplishments, the fact that you're a good person, that's what I'm proud of. Like I can say my baby is good. She's not perfect, but my daughter is compassionate and she's caring and she's generous and she's honest and she's loving. And so that makes me very, very happy. So everything that I have wanted for you, and I knew that you would be a great mother because you were a great cousin. You took care of your cousins, so I knew you would be a great mother. So everything that I've wanted for you, you have. And so now what I want for my grandchildren, most of all, I don't want to cry. I don't worry. I try not to worry about. I want them to live in a world where it's safe for black boys to become black men, and that worries me more than anything. So I want them to, I think because they have you as a mother and and they have a village to help raise them, I think they're going to be good people. But all it would take is for them to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And because they're black boys, I'm afraid. And I know the Bible tells you not to be afraid. So I pray about it. Pray for them. I pray for them more than I pray for anyone else. More than I pray for myself. I pray for them because that is what I want. I want them to be able to live their lives and not be put in a predicament where they're harmed or they're incarcerated simply because they're black men or treated unfairly. That's what I want. That's what you want for them too, huh?
That, and just the same way you said, for you to make sure that I just want to to make sure I'm here long enough until they can take care of themselves. The next question. That was hard. If you could redo one thing in your life, what would it be?
I could child. Just one. And I have I mean, when I say very few regrets, I would have to sit and think about. I know there's one that's that I know of that I just won't discuss. It's too private. But if I could do one thing over, it would be not to stay in relationships that were not going anywhere for as long as I did. Mm-hmm. I have been a serial long-term relationship person. I never really, there were very short periods of time where I was single. And not that I was out looking, very short periods of time where I was single, where I truly got to enjoy being single. And I mean, very free. I don't think I went 6 months without somebody snatching me up. I mean, you see me, don't you? If I had to do it over, I would. And I don't regret those relationships because I always feel like every relationship, you're in it for a reason. I never look back and say, I shouldn't have done that. I always look back and say, what lesson should I have learned from that relationship? And I can honestly tell you, every relationship that I've been in taught me a lesson. Or lessons. Every last one of them. And I'm sure I taught some lessons too. That's what I would do. I wouldn't stay in the relationships for extended periods of time, and I would be single for extended periods of time rather than being with someone where it wasn't going to. Ultimately, I've always known I was going to be somebody's wife. Oh, lucky being. I know you're going to see this.
What do you want to tell your grand and great grandkids?
What I want to tell them? Mm-hmm. I talk to my grandkids all the time. I talk to them all the time. I tell them what's on my mind. I do. And I know they're going, when I'm dead and gone, they're going to be like, my grandmama was something else. My grandma was something else. When I'm gone, I think about when I'm gone, I want them to remember how much I love them, how much I appreciate them, and how much joy they bring me. And I would tell them, and I tell them, and I'll tell them as they get older, that you are brothers. You are your brother's keeper. And no matter what, that's your brother. And I always encourage Gabe to hug Micah and tell him you love him. And that's because I didn't see that growing up, and I felt like it created a wedge between me and my siblings, because that's not something I saw or something that we were required to do. And I would tell them to tell your brother that you love him. They're going to tell their mama that they love him and kiss him, but tell your daddy that you love him as well and kiss your daddy too. And if you love someone, let them know, and treat your brother like he's your best friend, because that's the person that's going to have your back no matter what. That was easy.
Oh, hold on, no.
How many more?
Last question.
Okay.
What's one thing you want me to always remember after you're gone?
I don't know. I think that we're close. I don't know a mother-daughter that's closer than all of my close friends. Like Alicia and her children are very, very close. Carmen and her mama are very close. I think when I'm dead and gone, I think you'll always know how much I loved you. Like you always felt? Mm-hmm. You've always felt like I loved you, like fearlessly.
Mm-hmm. I know there are times where you didn't like the choices that I was making, but you always loved me.
Mm-hmm. Like you've always felt like, no matter what, have you always felt like no matter what, if I call my mama, you can tell the truth, you ain't felt like that.
I know if I call you, you gonna get it done, or you're gonna come running or send someone to come running.
But it was gonna happen.
But you were gonna make it happen. By you or by way of someone else.
Okay. I think that's good. That was my intent. And it was the truth. It was the truth. I don't know what I would want you to remember. I would want you to remember. I don't think you have any issue with remembering how much I love you.
Or like one message that you would want me to always think about. Because I know what I would tell my kids.
That you're stronger than you think you are. You are stronger than you think you are, and that you can get through anything. You think, pray, Lord, and that with the Lord you can get through anything. It may not feel like it at the time. It may be like I've had times in my life where I was in a lot of pain, emotional pain, and cried and cried and cried. But that was before I knew Christ. I knew of him, but I didn't know him. But once I knew him, I knew, and I've always known since then, that no matter what happens, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it through. And if it's my time, it's my time. If I don't make it through, then it was my time to go. Then he had already planned that for me. But if it's not my time to go, then he's gonna give me the strength to make it through. And it may be a hurdle, it may be a ditch, it may hurt, I may suffer, but I will come out on the other end. So I would want you to remember that you're stronger than you think you are. I know how strong you are. You're stronger than you think you are. I would want you to also remember to speak up. You have a habit of being frustrated with an issue and not, why are you looking at me like that? You being frustrated with the issue and not speaking up. And I think, and sometimes that can be challenging because you don't want people to say you're mean or ugly, but there's always a tactful way to say things. And sometimes the situation doesn't call for being tactful. But that's it. Speak up. Speak up, and you're stronger than you think you are. You're as strong as I know you are. And I'll always be with you. I don't know, like Tabitha was talking about her mama, she finds dimes from her mama. I don't know. Angel talks about her boyfriend that died. They always like butterflies, so there's a butterfly, she know it's Nate. I don't know what it, maybe when you see a new pair of shoes. I don't know what it'll be. It'll be something. I'll come up with it before if I think I'm leaving. I don't think I'm leaving anytime. I think God has plans for me. He has stuff for me to do. I don't know what it is, but I feel like he has stuff for me to do. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was easy. Okay. You have anything to sit up? Say bye. Okay. So I'll do my outro.
Okay. Camera about to go off in like 10 minutes.
It'll be the second. We stop because the camera shuts off for like 30 minutes. Well, that's it. I enjoyed the interview. Did you enjoy it?
I did.
I wonder what your children would say if you asked them these questions. Oh. Or what you would say if Gabe asked you. I don't think he's old enough yet, or he's at a place yet.
He might be.
He's something else. He's a little male me.
Grandmother's child.
That he is. I didn't think he was that much like me, but I'm learning quickly. He is. That's my dude, though. I swear to God, that's my dude. Okay, that's it. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you decide to ask your mother these questions and record it, I think I'm asking you think Mom will do it. With just my phone, though, I'll set it up and ask her.
It'd be interesting.
It'd be very interesting to hear her. Yeah, I already decided next time I go home, till I have some questions to ask her. I'm gonna tell her to watch this video and tell her I'm asking her the questions. See if she'll be ready for it. And I'm gonna record it so I'll have it. Okay. Thank y'all. Now, what am I supposed to say? Thank you so much for joining me. Know that you are loved. Know that I appreciate you being here, and also that we want you to have what kind of day, Shadia?
The most blessed day. And no matter where you are.
No matter where you are. Bye-bye. I don't think I put no lotion on. Let me put some lotion on my legs. What you say?
You can barely see it.
You can barely see who, me?
Mm-hmm, your legs.
You don't have me out in these internet streets all gray and ashy.
I might be able to see it without. I said I may be able to see it without. Let's see.
I'm gonna introduce you, Shadia.
Are we ready?
Yeah. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Sit up. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay. That was fun.
Oh, my leg cramp.
I'm gonna keep that in it. I'm gonna keep that in the video. What's happening, Shadia? Your leg cramp? Well, you sitting on your leg?
Yes. Not you zoomed out.